The woolly mammoth stands as an iconic symbol of the last great ice age. These magnificent creatures, closely related to modern Asian elephants, were superbly adapted to the harsh, frozen environments of the Pleistocene epoch. Imagine vast windswept plains, known as the Mammoth Steppe, stretching across much of Eurasia and North America. Here herds of mammoths roamed, their enormous bodies covered in thick, shaggy fur that provided insulation against the bitter cold. Underneath this fur lay a substantial layer of fat, offering further protection. Their relatively small ears and short tails also helped to minimize heat loss, a crucial adaptation for survival in such frigid conditions. These animals were true masters of their icy domain, shaping the landscape as they moved and foraged. As the Earth's climate began to warm around 15,000 years ago, the vast mammoth steppe started to shrink. Forests expanded, and the open grasslands that mammoths depended on for food became fragmented. This environmental shift placed immense pressure on mammoth populations, reducing their available habitat and food sources. Simultaneously, early humans were becoming increasingly sophisticated hunters. Armed with effective tools and hunting strategies, they targeted mammoths for their meat, hides, and bones. The extinction of these last holdouts marked the end of the woolly mammoth's long reign on Earth. The key to even considering the revival of an extinct species like the woolly mammoth lies hidden within the frozen earth of the Arctic. Permafrost, the permanently frozen ground found in high-latitude regions, acts like a giant natural freezer. When animals died in these icy environments, their remains could be quickly buried and frozen. This rapid freezing process significantly slowed down the natural decay of soft tissues such as skin, muscle, and even internal organs. For millennia, these frozen tombs have preserved the biological material of Ice Age creatures, including the precious DNA that contains their genetic blueprint. Remarkable discoveries of well-preserved mammoth remains have provided scientists with invaluable biological samples. In 2007, the world was captivated by the discovery of Lyuba, a one-month-old female mammoth calf found by a reindeer herder in Siberia. Lyuba was astonishingly intact, with her skin, trunk, eyes, and even internal organs largely undisturbed after nearly 42,000 years in the permafrost. Each new find offers a potential treasure trove of genetic information, bringing scientists closer to understanding the biology of these extinct giants and providing the raw material needed for sequencing their DNA. The first draft of the mammoth genome was published in 2008, an incredible achievement that provided a near-complete genetic map of the species. The idea of bringing an extinct animal back to life often conjures up images of cloning, a technology that captured global attention with the birth of Dolly the sheep in 1996. Dolly was created using a technique called somatic cell nuclear transfer, or SCNT. This involves taking an egg cell, removing its nucleus, which contains its DNA, and replacing it with the nucleus from a somatic or body cell of the animal to be cloned. If the reconstructed egg develops into an embryo, it can then be implanted into a surrogate mother. While SCNT has been successful for cloning various living species, its application to extinct animals like the woolly mammoth presents far greater challenges, primarily due to the state of the available genetic material. The primary hurdle for cloning a woolly mammoth using traditional SCNT is the absence of living mammoth cells. The DNA recovered from permafrost remains is fragmented and damaged by time. Scientists needed a new approach, one that could work with the blueprint rather than a living cell. Even with the powerful tool of CRISPR, the scientific path to creating a living, breathing, mammoth-like creature is fraught with immense challenges. The first major hurdle is creating a viable embryo. This involves successfully editing the elephant genome at numerous genetic loci, potentially dozens or even hundreds, to introduce the desired mammoth traits without causing unintended and harmful genetic disruptions. Once an edited nucleus is obtained, it must be transferred into an enucleated elephant egg cell. Elephant eggs are difficult to obtain, and working with them in the lab is complex. If fertilization and early embryonic development are successful, the next monumental challenge is finding and preparing a surrogate mother. The surrogate mother would most likely be an Asian elephant, a species that is itself endangered. Elephant pregnancies are long, lasting around 22 months, and they are complex undertakings, even under normal circumstances. Ensuring the health and well-being of the surrogate mother throughout this process is a paramount concern. One of the most compelling ideas for revived woolly mammoths is their reintroduction to the Arctic tundra, linked with projects like Pleistocene Park in Siberia. This experiment aims to recreate the mammoth steppe ecosystem, a vast grassland rather than today's mossy tundra. Large herbivores like mammoths, bison and horses maintained this productive grassland ecosystem. Their grazing and trampling suppressed moss and shrubs, promoting grasses and enriching the soil. Proponents argue these mega herbivores could act as ecosystem engineers, creating a more resilient landscape. Their grazing patterns would encourage grass growth, reflecting more sunlight and keeping the ground cooler. Their footsteps would compact snow in winter, preventing permafrost from thawing quickly. Disturbing the soil surface could increase nutrient cycling, restoring a more productive and stable ecosystem. This could make the Arctic more resilient to climate change. The potential role of mammoths in combating climate change is intriguing. Reintroducing mammoths could help restore a stable ecosystem. This ecosystem might be more resilient to climate change. Mammoths could play a role in combating climate change. While the headline-grabbing goal of bringing back a woolly mammoth is what captures public imagination, the research involved in de-extinction efforts has broader implications that extend far beyond any single extinct species. The intense scientific focus on ancient DNA, advanced reproductive technologies, and genome editing is pushing the boundaries of biological science. These cutting-edge techniques developed or refined in the pursuit of de-extinction can have significant benefits for the conservation of species that are currently endangered and teetering on the brink of disappearing forever. The knowledge gained is not just about resurrecting the past, but also about safeguarding the future of biodiversity. For instance, the ability to sequence and analyze ancient genomes provides invaluable insights into the genetic diversity of past populations. This can help conservation biologists understand how species adapted to previous climate changes or disease outbreaks, offering clues for managing current threats. Furthermore, the reproductive technologies being explored for mammoths, such as advanced in vitro fertilization or interspecies surrogacy, could potentially be adapted for critically endangered species that struggle to reproduce naturally or have very small remaining populations. Genetic rescue, using tools like CRISPR to increase genetic diversity and bottleneck populations, is another area where de-extinction research could provide powerful new tools for conservationists working to save species like the black-footed ferret or the northern white rhino. De-extinction challenges our view of extinction as permanent. Once a species vanished, it was gone forever. The dodo, passenger pigeon, Tasmanian tiger symbols of finality. Genomics and biotechnology blur this line. Reading ancient DNA and editing genomes suggest new possibilities. This shift brings exciting possibilities and responsibilities. De-extinction forces new ethical and philosophical dilemmas. Which species should we revive and why? Who decides? Should we focus on preventing current extinctions? De-extinction research deepens our relationship with nature. Reviving the woolly mammoth is a crucible for innovation and a mirror of our evolving understanding.